Welcome to the Everyone's a Critic Movie Review Podcast, 1993. I'm your host, Sean Patrick. With me is Amy Kay.
Hello.
And MJ.
Hey.
That's Chewy.
He thought he needed to be introduced as well.
Yeah, well, he hated this movie as much as we all did, I think.
Yeah.
Visit us at I Hate Critics, and of course, Everyone's a Critic Movie Review Podcast, and wherever you listen to podcasts from. And on Twitter, it's at CriticsPod. Thank you to everyone. Of course, trigger warnings. This show tends to need trigger warnings for whatever reason. We talk about a lot of weird stuff because the movies are very, very weird in 1993.
Very weird.
It's disturbing sometimes.
Let's talk about Hexed. What the fuck is this movie?
Okay, so I was really excited about this particular one because according to film lore and Alan Spencer, who wrote Hexed, this was not the film that he had envisioned. Mm-hmm. He had written a script and filmed several scenes that were eventually deleted, cut out. He was going for more of a Mel Brooks kind of thing, where the studio was kind of pushing, well, it's a little bit too intellectual for us. We need to make it dumber because we want it for the kids. And boy, the kids, this is definitely right up our alley. But I mean, again,
Yeah.
us kids, we love watching a film that starts with the Soup Dragons and ends with Eddie Money. We love that. We love that. But yeah, Arye Gross is supposed to be our hero in the film. And
For some reason?
And again, I'd never seen this. I'd only seen clips, and I'd only done my research about the film itself and how all the rewrites, all the things on the cutting room floor came through. So I had high hopes. I'm thinking, okay, at least there's got to be at least 5 or 6 good jokes in this film. Not a one. Like, no, the only reason I think we laughed out loud twice was because of how ridiculous this movie was.
Yes.
Those are the only laughs that you had, MJ.
Yes. It was a constant laugh of why did anyone think to make this movie?
Because I just told you.
Well, why did anyone think to make it this way, though?
From your perspective, what is this movie about?
Honestly, hell if I know. It's murder.
Yeah.
And,
You asked her this last time, and all we got was
weird.
like it's about
concierge.
boobs. And
I did not say it was about boobs. Although
you're just always
kind
using
of
like
was.
the one words. It's about feet.
This one was not about feet. Although no.
Did anything stick out for you, acting or anything like that?
How terrible it was. I mean,
You give this movie a lot of credit from the perspective of being kind to Alan Spencer. Mm-hmm. I can't see where any of this could have been any good at any point. So the story goes, Arye Gross is an asshole.
Yeah.
Just a total prick.
But we're supposed to be rooting for him.
Our hero, he works at a hotel. He lies constantly about everything. And so everybody hates him.
Yep.
Which is a great way to introduce a character, is to have everyone just hate him.
Those are always my favorite people in the films.
Except for the girl he's going to end up with, because she's got to be like a saint who just is just unendingly kind, and we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. But he wants to go on a date with a supermodel named Hexina, played by Claudia Christian. And Hexina happens to be staying at his hotel, so he intercepts a phone call for her. So she's planning to go see a man who she has never met before, and apparently have sex with him, or kill him, or both. So he intercepts that call, and picks her up, and takes her out, and has sex with her.
Yeah.
Under the false pretense that he is this other guy.
Oh, he stole a car, too, right?
Stole a car.
Stole a car.
from another dick bag.
Yeah.
Thus, when she tries to kill him,
Yeah.
he has to admit, I'm not the guy.
Right. I'm just another horrible guy.
I'm just this horrible person who fucked you on false pretenses without your consent.
Right. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible.
It's really awful. Like, it's a horrible premise. So then they go find the guy she was actually meeting, and she just shoots him right in the fucking head.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was a piece of shit too. So everybody in the movie is a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, you
And
don't care if they die.
Not saying the guy deserves to die, but like he was blackmailing her into essentially having sex with him. 'Cause,
Right.
You know, men and
Yeah.
and
That's a good enough answer. Yes.
apparently in 1993, there's just nothing else that a man can do. It's just gotta get sex at all costs.
Every film in 1993.
movie.
My God. All of the 90s, really.
Just so horny all the time.
Well, okay, so what bummed me out is, I'm a huge Arye Gross fan. Huge. And I don't know why. I just have always liked him. I think he's very affable. I think he's a good actor. Claudia Christian I love, only because she played Haverchuck's mom in Freaks and Geeks. And that's one of the greatest shows of all time. And I loved her in that, and she really did a great job playing a mom on that show. However, her acting in this film was horrid. Just horrid. We don't know... we're kind of on her side in the beginning. She has a terrible French accent. Then we find out she doesn't even have a fucking accent. And every time she said the word fucking, it didn't sound right. It sounded like they dubbed it over. Did you get that?
It was like, it was so off.
It was like fucking. It just didn't sound right to me. It drove me nuts.
No.
Nuts.
Women be crazy.
Women-
is,
and
is
that's
the
true.
premise. That's the character that she plays. Is women be crazy?
Women, am I right? That's true. But and then there's like all these little side characters. There's all it just.
And of course, I like because it's the early '90s. She's also bisexual because we got to throw because of course she's crazy because she's bisexual.
Well, okay, but that's the other part of this. So you have to remember when this film was coming out. Sharon Stone was at the height,
Well, it's
and
again,
and they
just like last
wanted
week.
right, and they wanted to kind of Naked Gun it a little bit with her. Like that was what they wanted. The studio wanted them to have more of like a Naked Gun kind of attitude towards it, and you wouldn't know that until about 20 minutes into the film that that's what they were trying to go for.
Yeah.
And
There-
even then, everything was so segmented and weird.
There are several like cutaway Family Guy gags,
Which normally I would love, but it doesn't fit here.
like she's staying in a hotel and she refers to a painting on the wall and she says it's a cheap painting and when you look at it, it's a barcode. That's the level of humor we're dealing with here.
And it was just so disappointing to hear that. It was just like, dude, why?
I just remember looking at you and I'm like, oh, oh, that my soul died. I had to crack open an Angry Orchard just to get through this review. I don't like to drink during reviews, but Jesus.
I used to have I used to like Arye Gross, but now I'm kind of come around on not liking him anymore.
Well, he was horrible in this film.
He's so bad in this, and then you remember that he co-starred in Soul Man, and it's just he's done some questionable things.
Aww, but he was a good guy at one point.
You know what he is though? He is the quintessential nice guy that we have today.
Yeah.
He's a liar. He thinks he deserves sex.
Yeah, there's
He's
entitlement.
He's just completely entitled to having sex with this woman who has no idea who he is.
Yeah.
We'll tell any lie just to have sex with a woman.
Yeah, I mean,
he's just a raging hard on the entire fucking
that's
movie.
all it is. Because even in the beginning of the film, like, we see him entering, and we don't know if it's like a Walter Mitty kind of thing where he's in a daydream.
Yeah.
And he's got the British accent and all that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden he's up behind the counter, which, by the way, they filmed this at a Holiday Inn. They call it Holiday Palace. But I just have to say, you can see where the ground round sign is that's downstairs at the Holiday Inn, right behind people. Yeah, oh, God, it was so, it hurts. It hurts, the whole film hurts.
It really does.
We would
It's
stop and we'd just
painful.
look at each other like, so much racism.
I was surprised. They had an Asian character at the beginning and they didn't use a gong, so I thought maybe we're okay here.
Yeah.
Maybe we're okay. They're not going for the lowest of low-hanging fruit here.
Well,
when it comes to the pure racism. But then, for some reason, Arlie Ermey is in this movie. He's talking to a black character, and of course he goes, "You like basketball?"
yeah, I mean, my God.
Maybe that's supposed to be the joke, but it's delivered so poorly
It's
or set
so-
up without any setup. It doesn't land.
No.
No.
And he's supposed to be a great actor. The line that pissed me off the most with him was he's standing there with his colleagues, his co-workers, the police, and one guy goes, "Hey, I found the gun," and then he turns to his black female policeman next to him and says, "That's a gun."
And again, that could be
thanks for the information.
That could be a gag,
I did not know.
but you haven't set this movie up to deliver it that way.
Right. Because we're really just confused the whole time.
Because none of it, I mean, there's a whole lot of just non sequitur nonsense. For some reason, like, police are walking up some stairs and they step on a rubber duck.
Yeah.
Like, that's a gag in this movie.
That's a gag.
I don't understand why that would be funny. Just the editing here is so bad. The way they choose scenes. There's this thing where Arye Gross just keeps hitting a bell and it calls the bellboy, and then he hits it again and it calls the bellboy and it hits it again. The bellboy tells him about the boy who cried wolf. And then the next time he hits a bell, he won't come, and it doesn't matter because it's not like he's actually needed in this moment.
No.
Because there's several different gags going on in this scene.
But you don't know which one you're supposed to pay
There's like 5
attention
different
to.
gags going on at once. You've got the bellboy thing. They're also like renting a hotel room to children who are apparently there to have sex.
Those
and in the
white
background,
kids.
the greatest joke of all. A white guy is getting beat up by the cops, and of course it's all setting up for a Rodney King punchline.
Yeah.
Because it's 1993 and we're making Rodney King punchlines.
Yep.
Just days after, people have died.
Oh,
it's fine.
God, yeah.
It's fine.
No big deal.
Entire neighborhoods are burned down. It's fine. It's a big joke that this guy got beaten up by the cops.
Yeah.
Big joke.
Great job,
Very funny.
people.
It's what bothers me is that I think we actually took Body of Evidence seriously. And this one just, like, sucked our souls out. Like it's a Dementor.
It really feels like that.
I don't feel any joy at all.
In fairness, Arye Gross was the Willem Dafoe of comedy.
He really was. That's a great way of putting it.
He wishes he was the Jurgen Prochnow of comedy.
Oh, but no one's the Jurgen Prochnow, though.
They just can't live up.
Jurgen.
All the kids everywhere talking about Jurgen Prochnow.
To this day. Like he's fucking Elvis or something.
I know, right?
God, posters on the walls.
You guys weren't even there when Jurgen was good, okay?
They idolize him like Jim Morrison.
Late period Jurgen, okay?
I'm gonna put Jurgen on a t-shirt.
That's the goal.
Somebody's gonna know who it is one of these days. So
Jeff's listening. He'll put it.
Jurgen. Jeff will make us a sticker if we ask for him. But I'm just gonna go into it. They did Adrienne Shelly dirty in this fucking movie. One of the coolest people on earth, Adrienne Shelly, one of the greatest actresses that I've ever known. Great writer, great director, and they gave her the shit part of this film.
Oh yeah.
She gets to be the girl who's in love with Arye Gross from the start.
From the start.
And it's like, first of all, who could pull off that role of trying to pretend to like this guy? That's a bridge too far as far as I'm concerned. But
I think Arye could, I thought he was kind of cute back then. He had weird nipples, though. Like the hair, like it was perfect circles around his nipples. I couldn't stop. Well, I had to look at something. And the film wasn't doing anything. We were just meandering.
It's the nudity in this is so gratuitous.
It is. Poor Claudia
It's
Christian.
so unnecessary. Like, she's there to kill him, right? She goes to his apartment and she's there. She's trying to. She thinks she's killing one guy. She's there, but Arye Gross has taken her and essentially committed sexual assault.
Right.
And it's ha 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 ha, very funny.
Yeah.
Having sex with her under false pretenses, but she could have just killed him.
Yeah.
She could have that could have been the first thing. Like, okay, she leans in to make out with him, and then she tries to kill him, and then the plot unfolds. No, we have to have this awful sex scene that makes Body of Evidence actually look sexy.
Oh, it does.
Seriously.
Arye Gross is like
by comparison
spasming.
only. By comparison only.
One of the best lines, though, was Claudia Christian going, "You made me come 15 times." Great line. I want that on a t-shirt, too. That's up there with the I fuck Frank. Like, that's on par with that, I think.
Claudia Christian didn't even get the $8 million.
Oh, it's so wrong. Jorgen!
She was not paid that well for that. She was not paid nearly enough for the humiliation that they delivered to her.
Oh, God. Yeah, and she only did, B movies after that.
She should have sued the editor.
I agree.
I mean, truly, she should sue the studio. She should sue the editor that cut her performance into what this is. Sue the director for having her be. She's so broad in a movie that essentially was intended to be broad, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
But it's not. It's not broad. Mm-mm. It's a black comedy that has only occasional absurd elements.
Yeah.
That don't really play at all.
It was supposed to be comedy noir. It was supposed to be akin to there's elements of high anxiety, which actually they reference that pretty hardcore at the end, but it's so cheap. There's that, and then also at the end, it was actually supposed to be all a dream.
It was supposed to be all a dream.
Yeah, really.
That would make more sense than what we saw.
Seriously, it was
more and more ludicrous.
It was like a 5-year-old was deciding the layout of this movie. Okay, this scene's over.
Right.
I'm done with this now.
We don't play with that anymore.
No, I want this.
Give me naked Claudia Christian. Come on. Boobs. Arye Gross's nipples. Well, you knew I'd bring up nipples at some point.
Just vague racism.
Oh my god! Well, so much racism. None of the jokes landed at all. And like I said, I think we laughed out loud twice, but it was of the absurdity of this, the audacity of this film. Just existing.
Oh, there's this white guy who keeps getting. He's a total asshole. He does all this asshole stuff that would play better in, again, a much more broad, absurdist film. It would make more sense, but instead it comes off, he's almost sympathetic. That's how bad this movie is that this character who... You
feel bad for him in the end.
You almost do.
Yeah.
Because his life gets ruined by Arye Gross's character throughout. He's insulting him, but he deserves it, but then he doesn't. He's framed for murder. He gets beat up by the cops.
Oh.
He tries to stop them by saying, "I'm a Republican."
Yeah, that was the one time we laughed. I think that actually had pretty decent timing on there.
It's almost offensive that this. No, it is. It's terrifically offensive that this movie is going for Rodney King jokes. But even still, this movie is not one that even can go for any type of serious kind of commentary.
Right.
No.
Not at all. God, speaking of commentary, I wonder if you buy the DVD if Arye Gross actually does the commentary on it.
I don't know.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to hear his ideas. Why did I do this film?
So tell the story that you have been telling all week about this movie.
About this movie?
Yeah, you've been telling a story about how this movie was supposed to be.
So Alan Spencer, who wrote it, I don't know if anybody remembers, there was a TV show called Sledgehammer back in the day, which was kind of it was supposed to be, and it was very funny, very very Naked Gun-like. It only lasted, I think, about 2 seasons, but this is Alan Spencer's baby, basically. He grew up obsessed with Mel Brooks, obsessed with comedy, and so he had this vision of making this kind of comedy noir film, like I said, akin to high anxiety, akin to, the old kind of comic book kind of, noir stuff.
Sledgehammer was one of those shows that's like a comedian's comedian. It's comedians watched that show and laughed at it, the rest of the world ignored it.
Exactly, that's why it got canceled. I think I remember seeing a couple episodes back in the day, and you would, some of it was...
It did last 2 seasons.
It did, but some pretty decent absurdist comedy in there, but it's not like Heat, Vision, and Jack kind of stuff that you would remember, but that's fine. But again, so that was that was his vision. He got to keep his vision for the show. So his vision for this film, it was much more cohesive. There was a lot of these moments in where Norman Fell is fucking in this movie. He's not fucking anyone in this movie, but Norman Fell in this he actually had a larger role in the film, and he actually does this big long kind of speech that was really supposed to be important and pivotal to the film. That whole thing got ripped out, and they basically just kind of started from scratch. They just took everything down to the editing room floor, threw it all up in the air, tossed a salad, put it back together, these dumb-ass pieces, and that's what we got. Because, I mean, Alan Spencer, one of my favorite stories about Alan Spencer that I had to call Sean and tell him about this was he hung out with Andy Kaufman. He was one of Andy Kaufman's really good friends. Andy Kaufman invites him over. It's like, yeah, we're just going to hang out, have a few beers, watch TV. Gets him over there. And Andy makes him watch 48 hours worth of The People's Court on VHS tape. And it's so Andy. It's such a... See, and that's, I think, the comedy that's the kind of comedy that Alan Spencer wanted to do. Mm-hmm. But every time he tried to do it, he was thwarted. And that's why I feel so bad about this movie, because he had such big hopes, but the executives are basically like, we're trying to market this to kids. We want kids to be sneaking into the theater to see this movie, you know? Making it seem like we're all a bunch of dumb fucking idiots. Oh yeah, that's our kind of movie. You're right. Take out any sort of intellectualism and just give us tits. So... that's basically what I got. That's why I was hoping, like, I had my fingers crossed that maybe this would be at least one or two really important, funny scenes, but it didn't happen that way.
It occurred to me, MJ, I was just like a year younger than you are now when this movie came out.
Yeah.
Is it weird to you just how much things have changed in 30 years?
Yes. 100%. It's like... What was happening?
How invested is MJ in this film? Been playing the same puzzle for the last 2 hours. And still playing it right now. So divested.
It was so choppy that you can't follow the story. Like...
I feel like every time you looked up from your puzzle, you're like, what? No! And it just kept looking back down. It's like, I'm just going to go away from this. I want to be away.
I'm just going to play my game.
Like, if you thought about more, like, contemporary comedies, what comes to, like, I guess, in this period of time, I can't think of... Was Naked Gun out at this time?
Yeah, I think so.
And then we had Hot Shots, I think was around this time. Again...
So why would you be opposed to making a movie like that?
Yeah.
I mean, those were hit movies, weren't they?
Right.
So why not?
I mean, Hot Shots got a part 2, so...
At the same time, they're making Loaded Weapon, which is, like, coming out very soon in this timeline. So, I don't know. I don't understand.
Well, remember the tagline for this movie, too, was more basic than any instinct. Something akin to that, something along those lines.
Because she's crazy.
Right.
The main chick is bisexual and crazy
but
and hot.
But they were trying to play off on those comedies that were doing it right.
So it's like the intention was to make a Basic Instinct send-up.
Yeah, and it didn't work
that
way.
Whereas Body of Evidence was making Basic Instinct 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
It is bizarre, just the number of movies. Like 2 weeks in a row, we get movies that are like, hey, remember Basic Instinct?
Yeah.
Remember how shitty that movie was? We found a way to make it shittier.
We have Basic Instinct at home. That's the best line right there. That's Body of Evidence.
To make it shittier and more offensive. What do you think?
Oh.
Great job, guys. Everybody give your
well done.
How you managed to make this Basic Instinct worse.
I every time I think of movies like this, like Hexed, or even like Body of Evidence, you can just imagine what these men in the boardrooms look like. Like, they all look like Huey Lewis, and the entire band were wearing, like, pastel suits and shit, even though that would be, like, late 80s. But they all have the same hair, and they're all just like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. We really want to get the kids market.
You know what, though? Boobs.
Boobs.
Let's place my sexual fantasies into every movie. What do you...
Because why wouldn't everyone want to see that?
Well, I think the goal for this film was to end up on USA Up All Night. Don't you agree? I mean, it definitely was USA Up All Night, and it was one of those movies, like Soul Man was on there.
Right.
But Loose Screws was on. I mean, you give them a good titty comedy, which this was not that. Like, I would take Loose Screws over watching this movie, which you really do need to see Loose Screws. It still cracks me up. We'll make her watch Bachelor Party later. Now, that's a film. That's a film. That's Adrienne Shelly at his highest there. But
you're upsetting me.
I love Bachelor Party. Fuck you. It's fucking hilarious. Tom Hanks who? That's Adrienne Zimed's movie.
I think they watched that, or they were gonna watch that on Bob's Burgers. Somebody wanted to watch Bachelor's Party.
Yes, that is correct. And why wouldn't you? I'd rather that. It's a better titty movie. Honestly.
Oh, anything's better than this, though.
It's like we've tried to talk about other films just so we don't have to talk about Hex.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
literally. It's like, let's just talk about this for a little while longer.
This is like the second week in a row where we've struggled to try and explain what the plot is because it's like there isn't one. Like last week, the idea was that Madonna was the weapon who killed her husband, boyfriend, whatever. Now here, what is the plot of this movie? This guy's an asshole. He lies to everybody. Nobody likes him.
Right.
And Basic Instinct.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. That's basically it.
Yep.
Like, the where this movie goes, it's like she tries to frame him for the things that she's done.
Yeah.
She like hides a gun in his house, kills his high school bully who works with him apparently.
Yeah.
A weird character.
Tad from All Like Children, if you were ever a fan of the 80s and 90s, right there.
That guy
With a mustache.
He just goes around being a bully like, from a high school.
His name is Simon. Like, he's just so Simon-y in this movie. And he's got
Simon-y,
he's a very Simon-y, isn't he?
But he comes off as sympathetic. He does, honestly. Like, as much of a shithead as he is, like, Arye Gross deserves somebody to be a prick to him because he is a prick.
He is really a prick.
I mean, he's awful. He's an awful character. This guy is trying to out-awful him and failing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's right in the end to try and, like, when she says, get this guy out of my hotel room, like, yeah, he did do this.
Yeah.
He did, like, get himself into this.
That's
I don't
true.
feel sorry for Arye Gross in this movie.
Yeah.
He's not sympathetic. I don't know why anybody read him as sympathetic.
Because I think in the original script he was supposed to be. And you have those moments like oh, fuck. I hate that he's in this situation, you know, and obviously it's like those blunders of the early 90s films. It's like, you can't just have the truth. Everybody has to misunderstand everything that you're doing, and...
This isn't a misunderstanding. This is a sexual assault.
No, I didn't understand any of this film.
She did not consent to having sex with him.
No.
She had planned to have sex with somebody else.
Her reaction after he told her who he was is the reaction of so many people in this world after something like that has happened. They're just wanting to crawl inside of yourself and not
She's
come
so
out.
grossed out.
So grossed out.
And she should be. And she's a killer. She's a murderer.
She's a murderer, and she doesn't matter.
Before the story begins, she's killed multiple people in her past.
Yeah.
But of course, they also have to throw in that she was sexually abused. Let's add that to this to this comedy backstory.
Comedy backstory.
She suffered sexual abuse at 16.
Oh.
Murdered her abuser, and that made her go to jail for a long time until she snuck out, lost a bunch of weight, and became a supermodel.
Oh, but see, that was so the 90s. Like, everything was okay back then. It's like any Gen Xer who says, like, it was just a simpler time, you know? People could be racist and be misogynistic. It was a great time. Nobody said anything. Nobody's woke. God bless. And that was the other thing, too. She is trying to... The whole point of her kind of arc is that she's trying to get these negatives back of these pictures of when she was fat. And when you look at these pictures, like, this woman in the picture is not even fat, she's just thick. You know?
Here's a thing that doesn't make any sense. She wants the pictures back because she's afraid they'll get out and show that she was fat.
Right.
Shouldn't she be more concerned about people finding out who she really is and sending her back to jail for the multiple people that she murdered?
Okay, but you're trying to introduce logic into this film.
And how many did it say she murdered?
22.
22?
It was
I think it was
22? I thought
22.
It was 32.
32, maybe.
Maybe.
She set
You
a fire.
were listening.
She set a fire.
That part was just like, wait, hold up. Why is this a thing?
She was, like, sexually abused. She murdered her abuser, and in so doing, she set a fire to her house that burned down several other homes and killed 32 other people.
That's true. But she was fat once. And this film was brought to you by Nutrisystem.
That was a weird...
That was a weird shout out. It's like, oh, and then I got a Nutrisystem. It's like, really?
Like, I get that that's like a reference to a commercial at the time.
Yeah.
But again, that's the thing. It's like this movie it is so cobbled together from a shitty Naked Gun movie.
Right. But it wasn't supposed to be.
Because, like, the opening scene introduces her billboard, because she's the model for Indifference. the cologne known as Indifference.
Smells like the bottom of your grandma's
And they
purse.
do an entire commercial parody of, like, 90s
like it's CK1
commercials
kind of thing, yeah.
It's just not funny. Like, Indifference isn't... I know what they're going for. Like, it's so snarky and so, like... It's so humor of the time.
Of the time. Like, Fuzzy watching it... Here's MJ watching, like, I don't get that reference. Well, no, because this movie is not timeless whatsoever.
I was doing commentary throughout the movie because they were making references. I would turn to MJ during the movie and explain the reference just to make sure.
So there was this perfume once, yeah. And poor MJ's like, yeah, I'm just playing my puzzle.
Norman Fell refers to the Katzenjammer Kids, which is now a 100-year-old reference.
Which I didn't even know that one. Sean throws that out like, okay, Dennis Miller. Take your time.
So the Katzenjammer Kids. See. It's like the Katzenjammer Kids.
I want you to stop the head on a swivel thing. Just stop it. Just stop it. See, our comedy's timeless because MJ really knows who Dennis Miller is. He was once a really good, funny comedian.
Used to be.
Then he's horrible.
Ago.
Yeah, he got horrible.
No longer.
No longer, but...
Hasn't been funny in years.
No, just a bloated carcass.
Anti-funny.
Mess. Yeah. Anti-everything. He's horrible. Anyway, he should have been in this movie. Wait! What was the vampire movie that he was in? Didn't that come out that year?
It might have come... It was around the time.
It was around the time. Yeah.
Wasn't it a Tales from the Crypt movie?
It was Tales from the Crypt.
Night?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh, fuck that
Bordello
movie.
of Blood.
Bordello of Blood. We saw that in the theater, bro. Remember?
Yeah.
I just called you bro. Do you want to up high? No?
No, that's
Leaving
all right.
me hanging.
Yeah.
Damn. It hurts. Bordello of Blood. I still have my movie ticket for that somewhere. Damn it. Damn it, Dennis.
Angie Everhart, better actress than Claudia Christian.
That's so true. And better hair. Better hair.
She just gets treated so badly in this movie. I feel sorry for her. I feel
sorry for every woman in this film, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't think that she really... I think her performance was edited so poorly, and they used just the worst takes that they could of her.
Yes.
Seriously.
As a way of trying to create comedy that didn't exist.
Do you think she could sue? What's the statute of limitations on this?
She should be able to sue.
This is 30 years, right? I would just take it back.
I don't think she was... I think that sex scene, I think she did, like, multiple, like, one-liners, and then they just kept all of the one-liners, but edited them so badly as to make it seem like she's saying them all in a row.
You know what? If they can sue for Romeo and Juliet now, I think she should be able to sue for this movie. Make the jury watch this fucking movie and award her $50 million for it.
Something like that. I'm telling you, I'm not even kidding.
I'm not either.
Like, the
I would
way
be fine
this
with
is
that.
edited is so gratuitous and so unnecessary. Whereas, like, when you watch, like, Lisa Marie Presley in Naked Gun, she does the same jokes. Priscilla.
Yeah.
She does the same jokes that are done here, but she's given her dignity while doing them.
And it's funny.
It's funnier because, like, you see her naked back and she makes a joke.
Yep.
Like, that's funnier than actually seeing Claudia Christian's breasts.
Yeah.
So
full on ass,
gratuitously.
too. Like,
just
full on.
I'm not opposed to that.
Oh my God!
But I'm
Misogyny.
I'm just saying it's so gratuitous and unnecessary here. It doesn't belong in this movie.
I agree.
And it's you can just tell that was edited in specifically to kind of take on that Basic Instinct vibe.
It's funny because when you type in Hexed film 93 into YouTube, there's 70,000 uploads of that scene alone. Just that scene.
Of course there is.
And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, okay, I've seen the all. You know, it took me forever to find one scene that didn't have her ass in it. Unbelievable.
Good to know those guys are still out there.
Those guys are our age. Like, this is my awakening when I was 16.
Oh, God.
Claudia Christian's ass.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the priest who was watching the porn in the movie?
Oh, the priest, he got punched in the face.
Yeah,
That was
which he
funny.
deserved it.
Yeah.
I love that. But then the lights go out and he's praying.
The Naked Gun gag. Again,
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
it.
It's one of those absurdist gags where like something. So Claudia Christian's trying to stab Arye Gross, and she accidentally stabs a light box, but it doesn't kill her. But
Yeah.
it takes out the power for the entire hotel.
Yep.
And when the power goes out while he's watching porn, he thinks God is talking to him.
Yeah.
So he starts to pray.
Which that could have been funny in any other film.
Yeah.
That could have been funny in any dream that you have. That could have been funny in the story that
I feel
Chewie
like I'm
tells me.
describing jokes that could be funny
They
in
could be funny.
like a Naked Gun style movie, but that's not what this is. This is a movie that tries to be a narrative film.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not full on absurdity.
It's like it doesn't know what it is, though.
Yeah.
You know, what am I? What am I, this film ass? And we have no answer. We just need to put it down. Put it to bed. Put it asleep.
I was surprised though, MJ. You said this is worse than Body of Evidence?
Yes, I did. It is
I
worse than
agree.
Body of Evidence. It's so bad. Like, seriously, like, the sex scene alone in this one made the other one look fine. Like,
Was it Arye Gross looking like he was having a seizure underneath her? Because that was
just
weird.
so disturbing. Like this.
Sorry,
is what-
spoilers.
This is what killing someone with that looks like.
I'm so glad we started this show after Basic Instinct because I don't want to show you that.
No, you don't deserve that. No one deserved
Sounds
that.
terrible. It
Michael
sounds
Douglas didn't even deserve that.
The better experience of that, listen to Bill Hicks's bit about
Yes.
Basic Instinct. It's
Yes.
far better than the movie
I'll give you the disc.
ever could be. Yeah.
Good times. God, we had to go to Bill Hicks just to get away from this movie, didn't we?
I mean, I keep trying to find, like, there are things to talk about.
There's
but, like,
nothing to talk about with it. Like, there were just, like, some lines, and I kept trying to tell myself to remember them so I could, record them and say them out loud. I just erased the last hour and a half of my life. I did. I don't want to think about
was
it.
so unmemorable and awkward.
Yeah.
It was just.
Like, I could recite
No.
all of Body of Evidence to you right now, but I can't remember this movie already.
There's a character in this movie that he's like the doorman or the car. He
He's
handles
the car guy,
cars.
yeah,
The valet.
valet.
And he's just completely, like, over the top the entire time. I imagine, like, in the 70s, like, T.K. Carter would have played that role?
Yeah, or J.J. Walker.
Like, that's what he's going for.
But he didn't do it
he's
all the
not
way through the
getting
film.
there.
Like, towards the end, all of a sudden he went, like, balls crazy, and then he's screaming, breaking the fourth wall there at the end,
Yeah.
which made no fucking sense.
No.
Again, sorry, spoilers for anybody that wants to sit down and watch this movie. I understand
Please
that you
don't.
don't want us to blow this for you. But they all die in the end.
So we're the only people who've watched Hexed.
We're the only people that ever watched Hexed. Except
We're
for the
watching
70
it, so
people that
you don't
uploaded
have
that.
to.
Yeah. God.
Somebody already has that catchphrase and he's awful, so let's...
Oh, yeah. Good point. Ouch. Let's not bring that up.
No, let's not go there.
Ugh.
It's just...
It hurts. It hurts worse than Body of Evidence. It really
Like,
does.
I can't... I know you've given the director a lot of credit. I can't find a version of this movie that could possibly work.
Because you're not using your mind. I think that there was a story, like again,
But all of it hinges on bitches be crazy.
bitches be crazy for sure.
I mean, how do you get to the plot? I mean, I guess you get to the plot without having the sex scene by having just her go to kill him.
Right.
Right? So that's possible, but we don't know what the director was going to do, because they did film the sex scene.
I think a lot of it, though, was supposed to be more like Walter Mitty. I really do. I think that's kind of... Did you ever read that story?
It would be far less problematic if
Yeah.
it were all just a dream.
It's all just daydreams that he has throughout
I mean,
the
it would
story.
still not reflect well on the Arye Gross character.
No.
That he's tricking women into having sex with him.
But at least it'd be in his head, and none of us would have to see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that
Like a Walter Mitty porno is not a terrible idea. Like a comedy porn Walter Mitty movie where a guy just fantasizes about having sex with various
I
different
feel like
women.
that's every porn we've ever watched. Don't you think? Because none of those situations or scenarios are real.
No, but
You don't
I mean-
go into auto shop and just like, oh, I have a female teacher today. Big tits and no pants. That's a dream.
So you're saying all pornography is Walter Mitty?
It's all Walter Mitty. All Walter Mitty porn.
Walter Mitty's a guy who just daydreams all day and
Yeah.
has these various different adventures in his daydreams and wakes up to his regular life.
Read the story, don't watch the Ben Stiller book or movie.
It's not a bad movie.
It's not a bad movie, it's just the story's better.
Probably.
I like it better. But I'm just an intellectual. What? I like how everybody laughs at that. Looking at my comic books. Anyway, I don't think that there's anything redeeming about this film aside from what I've already stated, and I don't think that's going to save it because I could talk all day about where it was supposed to go, and it didn't go there. Mm-hmm. This was our end product.
Just so many lines of this movie. It's just like they didn't take any care in assembling this at all.
If Wish.com were a film. It's going to take a long time to get there, and when you get it, everything's falling apart on it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that Macho Man Randy Savage t-shirt you got me.
Oh, that was a great shirt, though. Did you ever get to wear that?
No.
Why not?
It was not actually of size. It fell apart within days.
Oh, I spent so much money on that. Is that $6? Took 10 years to get here from Japan.
Wish.com is the perfect reference for this. Like if you ordered Basic Instinct from Wish.com, you might get hexed.
I'd be okay with that.
It's a film that comes. It's not the film you wanted.
No.
It has elements of what you asked for, but it never. And it falls apart within 6 or 7 minutes of watching it.
It's imitation cheese. It has cheese parts. It's just not all cheese.
It's just carelessly assembled like a bad hot dog.
Yeah. Assholes. Yeah, I just want to take a nap now.
Just get this out.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't dream of it.
No.
Just
You know what,
stays.
though? I think in about 20 years, you're going to look back on this and go, God, that was a movie. That was a movie. You bet it was. It's a movie.
So right now, 3 weeks into this show, Leprechaun is still the champion.
Still a champion.
Yep.
Good God. Okay, if we're here, what's happening next week?
You have options.
Okay, thank God. I'm not picking this one, though. I fucked this week.
All right, so there's a very, very, very good movie called Matinee with John Goodman.
Okay.
Or there's Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice.
God damn it!
Those are your options. There's also a film I've never heard of called The Blind Side. So you could consider that movie as your option for a grab bag because you
don't know
have
anything
no
about it.
idea what you're getting.
I don't like that.
Matinee's a really good movie.
Right. I feel like we should avoid that.
We just
Because-
want to be terrible.
I just feel like because if we watch that, we're not gonna have enough to say. Oh, that film was fantastic, and this.
We're gonna have to watch a good movie eventually.
No, we don't. Have you been to the '90s?
We will never run out of bad movies.
We're talking about a decade that is known for crap. I think we should do something not Matinee. But not Children of the Corn 2.
Well, your options, I guess we could do Sniper with Tom Berenger, too. That is an option.
That sounds awful.
Sniper is a franchise that is still going today.
That sounds awful. Is he still in it?
I think he was in the most recent one, yeah.
He's like the granddad now. I still shoot people.
Where's Kurt Russell? There was a Sniper movie with Kurt Russell.
No!
Yeah, that exists.
Grandpa Kurt, he wouldn't do that.
Well, I mean, like I said, your options are Blind Side is your grab bag.
Blind
You don't
Side?
know what you're going to get.
Who's in it?
No idea. That's the thing.
You really don't know?
It's not the Sandra Bullock Blind Side.
Well, no, I don't want to watch that anyway. I hate football.
That's a terrible movie.
I
too.
hate sports
It's
movies,
so bad.
actually.
Sports movies
Suck.
Or it's Children of the Corn to The Final Sacrifice.
Just, oh. Linda Hamilton's not in that one, though.
I don't believe so.
God, I don't know.
All right, let's see. I guess I can ruin Blindside if you want.
Okay.
Rutger Hauer, Rebecca De Mornay, Ron Silver, Mariska Hargitay.
Oh! What a cast!
Made for TV, made for HBO specifically.
Side.
Yeah, it's called Blindside. Let's see here. Married couple Lynn and Doug, Rebecca De Mornay and Ron Silver, owners of an exotic furniture design company.
Oh.
They head to Mexico while Lynn is in the first term of her pregnancy. That's notable.
I almost remember this.
On their nighttime return trip, with her at the wheel, they accidentally run into and kill a Mexican police officer in the middle of the road. They make no report of the accident, and wary of the perils of a Mexican jail, they slide the dead cop off the road and return to the United States without telling anybody.
I bet there's nipples in that movie. I'm sorry, anytime Rebecca De Mornay shows up, unless it's a movie with Hilary Duff, that nipple's coming out.
This could be a hidden gem, you don't know. Just because director Stuart Lynn, or just because it doesn't have a director?
No, that's why it did so well. No one told them what to do.
I'm sorry, it's directed by Jeff Murphy.
Oh, Jeff.
Yeah,
Jeff
Murphy.
Yeah, you know
Director.
Jeff.
You know Jeff Murphy.
Oh, it sounds like my grandma. Soup would always say that you know Bill. No, I've never met that person. No, you know Bill.
His career went so well that by 2005, he was the second unit director on XXX State of the Union.
Oh, classic film.
So you know things went well.
Well, he tried.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, none of us have directed a film.
That's true.
I'm terrified of Rutger Hauer. You know that I have nightmares about him.
He's no Jurgen Prochnow.
He's no Jurgen... Well...
Who is?
Paul Rudd.
Rudd would be jealous.
Rudd would be jealous of Jurgen.
Jurgen would be Ant-Man right now.
Fuck
if he weren't in his 60s.
How fucking dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
You know how big Jurgen Prochnow was.
He had an opportunity.
He'd be Iron Man.
He shat it away.
He would have been Iron Man.
God. Iron Man starring Jurgen Prochnow. I love him so much.
He would have created the Marvel Universe. He was 30 years ahead of his time.
That's so true. What if he was in The Rocketeer?
He might have been. I don't remember.
He probably was. He was in everything back then.
I mean, everybody wanted him.
They had posters in Tiger Beat of Jurgen Prochnow. I still have
The kids
those.
loved him. Moms loved him.
Dads loved him.
He's in every commercial.
Oh, you could hear him in the car, at home, on the radio. I mean, whatever.
Inescapable, like Claudia Christian in Hexed.
That's so true.
Every magazine cover.
Every magazine cover that looked like she took her like passport picture on all of them.
You'd pick up a magazine and go, Michael Douglas, where's Jurgen Prochnow? Just out of here.
He's going to call us up one of these days. And he's going to say we've been saying his last name wrong and that he doesn't like us.
You pronounce the CH.
Yeah, now. God, Jurgen.
So, Children in the Corn or Blindside?
I just don't want to watch people get killed.
I can't guarantee that Blindside will be available, because I don't actually know.
I say we make it a surprise for the listeners next week. It's one of those two films.
So it could be.
It could be either Children of the Corn 2 or the Jurgen Prochnow less
The
Blindside.
erotic thriller Blindside.
Oh, there is going to be nipple in it.
I'm just assuming based off the very beige poster
It's
for this
true.
movie.
And you know everything Ron Silver did back then, he had to be like, is there going to be tits? Because I swear to God, I know he probably didn't, but it just always seemed like he did a lot of cocaine and just wanted to see naked women in movies. Sorry, Ron Silver. You're a great actor.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't he in Body of Evidence?
Ron Silver? No. He should have been.
Should have been.
He would have fit right in.
I would have. Actually, he would have been better than Joe Montana.
He would have made more sense than Joe Montana.
I'm going to recast that film. But Madonna's still going to play Rebecca in it. All right, that's all I got. I'm fucking out of here.
Fair enough. You've been listening to the Everyone's a Critic Movie Review Podcast 1993.